David Zaritsky for the Bond Experience. Welcome back. Spy Who Loved Me, one of my favorite Roger Moore movies, and I think one of Roger Moore's favorite movies as well. It's just got everything. It's got gadgets, it's got gizmos aplenty. The reality is that the parachute scene is one of the most iconic moments for a lot of people, but it's not the mode of transportation that everybody remembers. Wet Nellie, the incredible Lotus that transforms into a submarine, that is the mode of transportation that is indelible in everybody's mind. And our intrepid correspondent Blair went to watch the actual auction of the Wet Nellie that was used in The Spy Who Loved Me. Blair, take it away as only you can.
Hi there Bond fans, Blair Ballard here for the Bond Experience. Welcome to a very miserable Battersea Park here in London. RM Auctions are playing host to a rather special collection of cars today. They're going up for auction this evening. I would have been wearing my Tom Ford suit, but I'm channeling my inner Daniel Craig and wearing my Skyfall Scotland Lodge gear. But anyway, we've got a rather special thing to show you, so come inside and I'll show you what's what. Come on. Well, wet and windy is quite apt really, because the car we're looking at today, up for grabs this evening, is Wet Nellie. Come through here, it's absolutely. We'll be meeting up with Don Rose, who's the Bond specialist here. He sold the Aston Martin back in 2010, the 1964 DB5, here at RM Auctions again. But I think this actually tops that, because I was a Roger Moore fan, and my favourite film of the Roger Moore era, of course, is Spy Who Loved Me. Anyway, there is Wet Nellie. Well, here we are with Don Rose. Hi, welcome to the Bond Experience. Thanks so much for seeing us. Very, very busy man today. There's lots of interest in this particular item we see behind us, Wet Nellie. Can you tell us a bit about how it came to RM's attention and the back history, and what are your thoughts for this evening's bidding as well?
Oh boy, well those are big questions. You know, I was fortunate enough when we were involved with the Goldfinger DB5 to meet Doug Rodenius from the Ian Fleming Foundation. So he sort of makes it his business to be aware of all the Bond-related vehicles around the world. And he knew the owners of this car. And I think that after the success of Skyfall, introducing Bond character perhaps to another generation, they felt it was time to bring it to market. The car had never been for sale to the public before. It had only been in the public eye, you know, briefly on a few occasions since the filming. It went from the studio location in the Bahamas to America in 1977, where Lotus took it on promotional tour to the new car exhibitions. And then around 1978, when that was done, the car was put into a storage locker unit in Long Island, 10 years paid in advance. So 10 years later, it's rent delinquent. They can't find, you know, the original contractees. After a certain amount of time, the cars, or not the cars, the contents.
Container, yeah.
The contents of the units, you know, they go on, you know, public auction, but they're blind. So you know, nobody knows
any idea what's inside.
No. So there was a local couple who are in the tool business, and they would buy these units on a regular basis. So 1 out of 5 of the units they bought on that day contained our underwater Esprit submarine.
Treasure, indeed. And then from there, who got the car after that? Do they sell immediately, or do they hang on to it for a while, or?
Oh no, they're the owners to this day.
Oh, fantastic!
They bought it in 1989, and weren't sure at the time even what they had, and claimed to have never seen a James Bond film before. But taking it home on the trailer, all the CB radio truckers were saying, "Hey, there's the James Bond submarine." So they, the car was authenticated. They did a bit of touch-up to it. It spent a year in the Peterson Museum in LA in the Cars of James Bond exhibit, and might have been shown a couple of other times, but then really went underground until now. So the car's never been for sale to the public, at least not knowingly. And it's been shown only rarely, but it's the one and only functional submarine.
Actually goes underwater. There was a diver inside, wasn't there?
Correct. His name is Don Griffin. He's one of the unsung heroes of James Bond films because they spent 12 days filming in the Bahamas. He drove it every bit of the way through the battle scenes and everything else, and
he was a Navy SEAL, wasn't he? He was an ex-Navy SEAL.
Correct, and he was a test pilot for the company in Florida that specialized in engineering and building submersible vehicles.
That was Perry Oceanographic.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken. That's right. Done my homework.
Correct. Yeah.
So what a job that'd be. Yeah. Again, unsung hero. Nobody really knew who it was. Can we look around the car? Is it possible to go?
Yeah, sure.
Should we have a look? Do you want to guide us around?
Sure.
So,
first of all, it came up in this door.
Okay.
Because of the way that the display is. But this is where the diver, Don, sat and perched, and there's even an oxygen mask, built in, and all the controls, which were electronically propelled propellers by batteries, and then everything else. There were ballast tanks, and the fins were articulated for up and down movement, just with mechanical levers.
So he's literally just pulling one thing, and the
he's pulling and pushing, and he had foot pedals, and then there's relays in there to control the speed of the propellers.
Didn't he have to use some sort of a periscope or
this thing here? He realized he needed the forward vision, and it's actually an Army surplus unit off of a tank. So that was added in mid-production.
Because he couldn't see where he was going or what he was doing.
Yeah, he needed something else. So and of course it has the usual gadgets. It's a lethal weapon, of course.
Absolutely. Did these actually work still, or were they non-functioning and they had other bodies?
So we've got these missile launchers in front that came up and were pneumatically propelled, and then in the back, I'll show you if you want to come around. There's the by now pop-down number plate,
great.
with the smoke screen. Inside, there's a chute for dropping mines.
So the guy just popped it down, the limpet mine at the end.
Yep, and there was a scene in the film, but it actually occurred in one of the prop cars, not this actual submarine, but where there was a missile launcher that came somewhere out of the middle of the
windscreen, the
rear light, and shot through up to explode the helicopter that was chasing them into the water.
Caroline Munro, very nice indeed.
Caroline Munro, indeed.
Can we pop the door open?
Go right ahead, give it a good whack.
Oh, there we go. Look at this, guys.
So it's absolutely original inside, and it appears to be complete. But it's never been restored.
Look at the regulator there for him to use in emergencies, I suppose. For Don Griffin. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Don.
I was just going to say the engineers, at least the chief engineer that I spoke with, who was involved with Perry when they built this, believes that if it's not underwater seaworthy today, that it could be made to be so again. Without a lot of trouble. It's from his point of view, this was all relatively simple off-the-shelf equipment.
So so the future prospective buyer could technically make it back into a submarine and it could be workable again, possibly.
Technically, yes.
Whether they would do it, obviously, and not have it on display.
Yeah, and we've not tested it, and so we can't make you know, any of those claims for certain. But the people who do know, you know, believe that there was nothing complicated enough to prevent it from becoming fully functional again.
Fantastic. Now, when Perry built it, it cost at the time about £100,000, I believe. Is that right? Oh, dollars. Sorry, $100,000. About $500,000 in current money. So the estimate is for the sale tonight, $650 to $950.
Yeah, yeah. And if you ask me how we came up with that, I can't really give you a good answer. The most important thing I think is that it's offered without reserve, so
Sure.
it will sell to the highest bidder,
Whatever.
at whatever it might bring.
But you know, for something that cost $500,000 to develop, even if it goes for that, that's a bargain in my book, really. For some Bond fan out there, that's going to, I think, sky's the limit really for tonight. I think it's going to be a...
Well, it's a cultural icon, and it's a one of a kind, and it of all the Bond vehicles, there was none more outrageous than the thing that was a car that transformed itself into a submarine.
It's amazing. I was always a Roger Moore fan. I mean, I grew up with Roger Moore, the films, and this was the ultimate for me. I mean, I had the Corgi car, even had the little helicopter as well, the Jet Ranger.
Yeah, they sold a lot of those Corgi cars.
They did, I know, I think 1.5 million in total by the end. It was a very, very popular toy, but it was brilliant with the little rockets that came out and the transformation for the car as well. It was absolutely gorgeous. But here, to actually be able to touch the actual car.
Oh no, don't touch it!
It's alarmed. My God, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Well, Don, thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah,
today.
we're really happy to be representing it. It's an honor.
And great, good luck with the auction tonight. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute stormer.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Don.
Okay.
Back to you in the States, David. Bye bye.
That was amazing, Blair. Absolutely amazing. So, yes, I guess you all know by now that I bought the Wet Nellie. No, I didn't. I didn't. But for those who may have bought it, if you want to give me a ride or let me sit in it, I wouldn't say no. This has been David Zaritsky and Blair for the Bond Experience. We'll see you very shortly.